Hello everyone and welcome to the Dojo. In today's video I'm going to be going through 5 survivors that I recommend you guys unlock first if you're new to the game and starting out. Now it can be quite daunting at first looking at the whole list of survivors available right now, and with those survivors you get many more perks, and yeah, it can be very daunting to figure out what to get first. So hopefully in this video this will help you figure that out a bit more. So I hope you enjoy, and I hope this helps you. So first up, Feng Min. Her perks are actually really good across the board. They help you in a variety of ways. So first one is Technician. This essentially quietens the sound you make when repairing. On top of which, if you fail a skill check on a generator, the explosion that normally happens doesn't happen. On top of which, you lose an additional 3% progress on failed skill checks. So the base progress lost is 10%. So with this perk, it will be 13%. It's good if you want to try and hit those great skill checks consistently, but you just don't quite get the hang of it yet. This is a good perk to pick up. I wouldn't use it religiously until, you know, you get the timing down with great skill checks. So this is actually a really decent perk to pick up. Second is Live. So in my opinion, it's probably the best exhaustion perk out there. So basically whenever you perform a rushed vault, which is over a window or a pallet, you will gain 50% haste for 3 seconds. So exhaustion perks, they're similar to sprint burst, right? As a sort of baseline. You run, you gain 50% haste for 3 seconds, and then you're exhausted. This is just performing the rushed vault over a window or a pallet. Now, I find this to be the most reliable when it comes to the exhaustion perks. There are others that are slightly less reliable, but they're still pretty good to pick up as well. However, like, this is just hands down for me the best exhaustion perk out there. Last but not least is Alert. So whenever the killer performs a break action, you'll see their aura for 5 seconds. So essentially whenever they kick a pallet, kick a generator, or a breakable wall, you'll see their aura for 5 seconds. Now this has no cooldown, so in theory they could kick a generator and then a couple of seconds later they could kick a pallet and that time will reset, so you'll still be able to see their aura for the full 5 seconds. So obviously this isn't the be all and end all of the aura reading perks. You've got perks like Kindred. It is just so much better than probably all the other aura reading perks, honestly. But again, this is a decent perk to pick up anyway, if you don't like Kindred. So yeah, this is Feng Min. That's her 3 perks. So second on my list is David King, and his perks are Dead Hard. So this is widely considered to be one of the best exhaustion perks out there. It's certainly in my top 3, but it does require you to get the timing down of this, as well as the killer can easily bait this out for you to use it. Anyway, so when you are unhooked for the first time, this perk activates. While you're injured and running, you're able to press active ability button 1. I'm not entirely sure what it is for consoles, but for PC it's the letter E, which gets memed on, funnily enough. So if you time this right while the killer's lunging at you, it sort of does a little animation for half a second. If the killer hits you within that time, you'll be put into deep wound, you'll be exhausted, and then the perk deactivates. So essentially this is like a one-time use kind of thing until you're hooked again and unhooked again. I don't believe it deactivates when the exit gates are powered. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm fairly sure that this can be used while the exit gates are powered. Next up is No Mither. Now this is a perk that will probably get you a bit of hate, because it is it's basically a handicap for survivors. So if you're basically broken for the whole trial, so you're going to be injured, you're in the broken status effect, that basically means you can't be healed. But as a plus side to this, you don't leave any pools of blood on the floor. Your grunts of pain are reduced by 75%, and you're able to recover faster, 25% faster, and you can actually completely recover from the dying state. So killers can't really slug you with this perk on, but like I said, this is quite hated in the community, and usually it means that you're quite an easy target as well. But by all means, if you want to run this, you could run this with Dead Hard as well. That gives you more options to survive. There are other perks out there that will help as well. However, I wouldn't really take this unless you're challenged to do so, or you're going for the Adept achievement for David. So last but not least is We're Gonna Live Forever. Now this is an altruistic perk, and it's very specific, and you're not often, honestly, not often gonna come across killers that religiously slug from the get-go. However, when healing another survivor in a dying state, your healing speed is increased by 100%. Once healing is complete, the healed survivor gains endurance for 10 seconds. So if the killer hits the healed survivor within 10 seconds, they'll just go into deep wound. It's like when you get unhooked for the first time, or the Dead Hard effect, where it essentially an endurance effect kind of, but it only lasts for half a second. You've also got, when you're unhooked, you still gain that endurance effect for 10 seconds, which is something recent that devs implemented. So it's a decent perk to run. So you can probably quickly pick someone up off the ground if they have been slugged, and they'll be basically immune for 10 seconds. They'll have a second chance for 10 seconds to get away. Yeah, those are David King's perks. Right, so next up is Kate Denson. Now, her perks are Windows of Opportunity. This is the most used perk in the game at the moment, and for good reason. I believe this perk is used around 32-33% of games. And yeah, I'll just go through it. The auras of pallets, upright or dropped, breakable walls, and vault locations are revealed to you within a 32-meter range. The auras will appear yellow to you, and this is by far the best perk to use if you want to get used to pathing mid-chase, learning the tile sets. It is just hands down really good for chases in particular, and highly recommend you pick this one up first out of everything else. The next up is Boil Over. this has been nerfed to death, so I really wouldn't recommend picking this up. But anyway, the struggling effects on the killer are increased by 80%. This is where you wiggle, they'll sort of stagger around a little bit normally, but with this it's 80% more. You obscure the killer's ability to see hook auras within 16 meters. So for killers, if they're close to a hook, they'll see the aura in red. They won't be able to see that with this perk on. But if you're in an open space, it's not useful at all, and it's barely usable if you're within a building or behind a wall, so they won't be able to see it. And on top of that, you'll gain 33% of current wiggling progress when the killer drops from great heights while you're being carried. So essentially, if you're on like a 2-story building, you're on the top floor and the killer's carrying you and he has to basically drop down to the ground floor, any sort of progress you have on your wiggle bar will be increased by 33% of that progress. It used to be additional, which is why this perk has been completely nerfed to death. I wouldn't recommend picking this up. I mean, this is rarely used. I rarely see it. I think the only good thing about this is the killer's ability to see the hook auras is gone. That's about it. Otherwise, really wouldn't take this perk. Last but not least is Dance With Me. So whenever you perform a rushed vault, which is over a window or a pallet that's dropped, or leaving a locker in a sprint, you'll leave no scratch marks for 5 seconds, and then this goes on cooldown for 15 seconds. Now I wouldn't use this perk on its own, however this is good if you run it with perks such as Live and Quick and Quiet. That's just an example where you can perform a rushed vault with no sound whatsoever. You'll get a burst of speed with Live and you'll leave no scratch marks behind. So on its own it's okay, but I would use this in tandem with other perks. So yeah, this is Kate Denson's perks. Alright, so next up, and a little bit of a curveball for some people who might come across this video, which is Adam Francis. Now, all 3 of his perks are actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Would I recommend picking him up first? No, probably not. But all his perks are good all the same. First up is Diversion. So being within the killer's terror radius for 20 seconds activates Diversion. You've obviously can't be in a chase for this to progress up. So once Diversion is activated, if you're crouched and stood still, you'll have the active ability button, and when you press E, it will throw a pebble. This causes a loud noise notification and scratch marks around the area where you threw the pebble. And this is actually really good to distract the killer. Even in my games, I've been using this perk and I've bamboozled the killer a little bit. Obviously, there is a little bit of a giveaway when it comes to Diversion. So normal loud noise notifications are closer to the ground, whilst Diversion's loud noise notification is actually slightly raised a bit. So if you're a killer and you can tell the difference, it's not really gonna affect them. But you know, if you're new to the game, you're playing against a killer that's quite new as well, they might not know the difference and they'll probably go running towards that loud noise notification. So next up, we've got Deliverance. Now, this is quite a good perk, but it does come with a caveat. So after unhooking a survivor, a safe hook rescue, deliverance activates. When you're on your first hook, you will have a 100% chance of unhooking yourself. Now, again, the caveat is you'll be broken for 60 seconds if you use this. So I wouldn't recommend using it in front of the killer's face, because all likelihood he will just come after you again, wait out the endurance, and down you again. I would probably use this in conjunction with other perks such as Dead Hard and Decisive Strike, just in case, you do get tunneled out for using it. Although back when this was really popular, killers usually waited out the deliverance effect and before picking you up, because that's sort of tell that that you're using Decisive Strike. And Decisive Strike has a 60-second timer on it for when it can be used. But yeah, this is a really good perk, but again, wouldn't use it on its own. Last but not least is Autodidact. So this starts out bad, but as you use it, it does get better and better. So when you're using this perk at the start of the trial, you'll have minus 15% progress for healing skill checks. Now, stay with me on this one. For every skill check that you hit, you'll gain a token, and each token gives you 15% progress bonus. So when you're on one token, you'll have a 0% bonus, and then going up from there up to 5, you'll gain 15% progress each skill check you hit. So this is a really nice healing perk. I probably wouldn't use this over something like Will Make It. I feel like Will Make It is better. However, you can still run this if you're new to the game, because it's really nice to pick up, especially when you get those skill checks down. And yeah, these are Adam Francis's perks. And last but not least is Zarina Kassir. Now, her perks are off the record. Once you are unhooked or escape from the hook, off the record activates for 80 seconds, which is nuts when you consider the effects this gives you. So, while off the record is active, your aura will not be shown to the killer, so you basically get distortion for 80 seconds. Grunts of pain are reduced by 100%, so you get Iron Will on top of that. And you gain the endurance status effect. You gain all three of those for 80 seconds, and it's absolutely crazy how long it lasts for. So yeah, this is why it is considered one of the best, and it's quite popular amongst other survivors as well. So yeah, this is a really good perk to pick up. Second is Red Herring. Now this is, it's okay, but I wouldn't religiously use it. So if you repair a generator for 1 second, this will activate, and your generator will be highlighted yellow. And the generator stays highlighted until it's fully repaired. You repair a new generator or enter a locker. If you enter a locker, there'll be a loud noise notification on the generator, and then it deactivates until the cooldown goes away and you start repairing another generator again. Now, this is fairly decent for distracting the killer, but again, it's kind of meh. I wouldn't really use it, honestly. Not unless I'm running some sort of distraction build, I suppose. But yeah, wouldn't recommend picking this up if you're starting out. Last but not least is Forward People. Now, this comes with a caveat, once again. So, while you're healing someone at full health, you press the active ability button and you will instantly heal them from dying to injured or injured to healthy. However, you'll become broken for 60 seconds, so that's the caveat. Not only this, you will become the obsession, which is, I mean, it doesn't really matter if you become the obsession or not, unless the killer is running sort of obsession based perks. But yeah, this is a really fast way to heal someone, but it will leave you injured and broken for 60 seconds. So yeah, this is Zarina Kassir's perks. So if you made it to the end, thank you all so much for watching. This is the 5 survivors that I recommend you guys unlock first if you're new to the game. So like and subscribe for more. I'll be back with another educational DBD video soon.